Let me tell you why making money in crypto is so hard. It's hard because of two reasons. And most people don't have those preconditions, those two preconditions, in order to even have some kind of a basis to beat the market. The first condition is we need enough capital. Now, how much capital do we need? Do we need a few $100, a few $1,000, a few $100,000? It depends on your current income and what you think you could potentially make doing another side hustle. Because here's the thing, right? Gaining in crypto needs time. Beating the market needs time. You have to learn a lot. And that time could be spent either by trying to beat the market or alternatively by having a second job. Now, if you only speculate with, say, 1 month of your income and you say you're a super successful speculator and let's say make a doubling of your capital every single year, right? That's like your consistent performance. And you only have a month so far saved up. Then you don't have yet enough capital, right? Because you could easily just have a second job. And then after, 1 month of fully saving that second job's income, you already have gained the exact same capital. In other words, doing a side job would be 12 times more efficient than trying to double your money in crypto if you have that little money. And so this gives us a bit of a hint, right? We have to think about what's our expected return if we put in a lot of effort versus how much money do we have. And how does this compare to simply just working more? And there is a flipping point, right? If you've got 1 month that you speculate with, then that's not enough. If you've got 10 years of your income saved up that you can all speculate with, then a side hustle has no merit whatsoever, right? Because if you've got 10 years, you just make 10% on that capital through active speculation because you're very talented. Then you're already equal with that side hustle. And then over time, this will also compound, right? Both your skills will compound, but also your capital will compound. So you've got a double compounding, making this even faster over time. So where's the threshold? I believe the threshold is somewhere between 1 to 2 years. Once you've got 2 years that you can actively speculate with, so that's not the money that's in your emergency fund, that's not the money that you can't spare, 2 years of income saved up that you can actively speculate with, then it makes a lot of sense to get active, to learn a lot about beating a market. Because let's say you make 20 to 30% because of that speculation in that soft market. Let's say that's the altcoin, let's say that's crypto, right? You make 30% on 2 years. How many months is that? It's a bit over 7 months. And that might not necessarily 100% compete with a second full-time job, but it's already competing with a second part-time job. And as compounding continues, as you become better, as you will be beating the market more, and as your capital grows, that inflection happens then very quickly afterwards. So after 2 years of income saved up that you can actively speculate with, I believe it makes a lot of sense to switch over to speculation. But before that, it might not make sense. So yeah, there are those two things, right, that need to be covered in order to be able to make it worthwhile to speculate. So the capital is one, right, 2 years. The second thing is we need enough time. So very few people have that, right? Very few people have both money and time. But you need both. You need enough money, otherwise it's not worthwhile. You need enough time as well. Otherwise, you will not be able to beat the market because profits are very concentrated in a few hands. 80 to 90% of people that actively speculate will lose.
The main problem with crypto YouTube is conflict of interest. Too many YouTubers shill garbage, promote garbage, and fill up their pockets in the background. Not this channel. Instead, there's simply the offer where I share my skills, my perspectives to you, and where I also share direct access to me, where you can ask me any questions. Feel free to check it out. The premium membership link is down below.
And the reason for that is simply because there is a wealth transfer from the not so skilled to the more skilled. And that wealth transfer is not completely linear, so there's not 50% losers, 50% winners, but there's just a few winners, right? 10 to 20% that get financed by all of those losers. So the threshold to become a winner is comparatively high. Thus, you need to have more time than most people. You need to be in the top 10% of people regarding time investment. So you need to have the time to improve your skills. You need to have the time to follow the news. You need to have the time to network within crypto, if it's the crypto market that you're trying to beat. You need to have all of that time And being in the top 10% of people, right? Those kind of people probably all do this more or less full-time. So what happens is, and what I personally did is, I had my full-time job and then I had side hustles. And I was saving the money from those side hustles. And I did this for several years until I was roughly at this 2-year mark of savings. What I then did is I pretty much full-time moved into crypto. Now, full-time doesn't mean that I've quit my full-time job. But since I already had those 2 side hustles, that full-time job and the side hustles, I quit all the side hustles and I took that time from the side hustles to move this fully into crypto speculation, fully into learning crypto. That then in the end gave me more leverage, right? That then helped me to grow the capital. Because in the end, if you have 2 jobs, you're simply just selling your time. There's no real leverage. You're simply just growing linearly. When you invest your time in beating the market, now your capital is also working for you as a leverage, and then you're growing exponentially. But the thing is that the linear growth at the beginning, right, the second job, the linear growth has more growth potential, as in it makes more money for you per hour compared to the exponential growth. The exponential growth is only worth it once you've already got a lot of capital, right? So you need both. Most people don't have both. Do you have both? Do you have enough capital to speculate with? Probably not. Do you have enough time to do this more or less full-time, to do this 40, 50 hours per week? Probably not. So what probably makes sense for you then is to not do too much active speculation, to be super selective with your active speculation, because most people are likely going to beat you, right? People will have a leg up against you. It might make way more sense for you to just have a second side hustle and maybe to learn about crypto on the side as well, that once you do make the flip, once you do have saved enough, that you're not starting out as a complete noob, but you can somewhat climb to the top % faster. But this is a very fundamental thing to understand. You can't beat a market if you don't put in more effort than the average person. You have to put in way, way more effort than most other people. Otherwise, you're simply just gambling. You're simply just hoping that luck will be in your favor. But the longer you play the game, right, the less the luck component becomes important and the more the skill component will shine through. And so that's why, in the end, building skills with enough time is hyper important. And that's why you need to have enough money to make this worthwhile, right? Because if you can beat the market, but you only have 2 or 3 months saved up, and you're even doubling your capital every year, it's still not worth it. And so, of course, there's also another way to look at this, right? If you don't do this for the money, if you don't think about this totally opportunistically, and you actually do this also for entertainment, which I believe is actually the majority of people, because a lot of people watch the entertaining YouTube videos. They don't watch those boring walk and talk videos like this, right, that are very theoretical. Most people watch the screaming BitBoy cryptos of this world, the Ben Armstrongs of this world. If that's the case, if you're simply just in it for entertainment, then simply treat the money that you use for crypto as entertainment money, right? As an entertainment expense. Then definitely don't overexpose yourself and simply just gamble with a few $100s. See this like going to the casino and maybe hitting the lottery jackpot at some point. Treat it like this, but don't turn it into something super serious if you don't have the time or you don't have the excess money to potentially risk on that journey. If you found this interesting, feel free to give this a like, of course. It will help the channel grow. Subscribing is, of course, very much appreciated as well. I publish these regularly. There's also a Telegram channel down below. Feel free to check it out. I hang out there regularly. So just click the link down below to join the Telegram. See you over there. Cheers.